The Firefly Fairy Rescue. One time, in a quiet little town, the fireflies buzzed around in the night, twinkling like stars. All was calm until a tiny voice cried out, "Help! I'm trapped!" The sound was muffled, coming from inside an old, empty pickle jar left on the ground. Inside the jar was none other than a fairy, a sparkly, blue-winged fairy named Twila, with hair like spun gold and a dress made of flower petals. "Help me, please!" Twila called, her little fists banging on the glass. She had been wandering through the meadow when she accidentally flew into the jar, and the lid had snapped shut. The fireflies, her glowing friends, immediately swarmed around the jar in a flurry. Twila was a dear friend to the fireflies. She'd sing songs and dance with them, and even sprinkle a bit of fairy dust to make their lights shine brighter. The fireflies knew they couldn't let Twila stay trapped. But they were just tiny little bugs. How could they possibly lift the heavy jar lid? So, the fireflies decided to go find help. They flew towards a house on the edge of the meadow, where two kids named Lily and Max were just finishing their bedtime story. But when they saw the swarm of glowing fireflies gathering at their window, blinking and buzzing in an unusual pattern, they knew something exciting was happening. "Lily, look! The fireflies are trying to tell us something," Max whispered. Lily opened the window and stretched her arm out, letting the fireflies land on her palm. They sparkled brightly and then zoomed off toward the meadow, pausing now and then to make sure the kids were following. In the moonlit meadow, Lily and Max spotted the jar with Twila inside. They gasped in surprise at the sight of a real fairy, her little hands pressed against the glass, her wings fluttering anxiously. "Oh no, she's trapped," said Lily, rushing forward. She tried to open the jar, but it was tightly sealed. "It's stuck." Max thought for a moment. "We need to get her out before the sunrise, or she might lose her magic." The fireflies buzzed in agreement, their lights flashing in excitement. Max and Lily huddled together to come up with a plan. "Okay," said Max, "first, we need to make sure no grown-ups hear us. They'd just try to catch Twila for themselves." So, they decided to create a distraction. Lily snuck into the house and turned on the sprinkler in the yard. It wasn't long before their dad appeared, groaning, "Who left the sprinkler on at this hour?" While he was busy turning it off, Max and Lily hurried back to the jar. Next, they decided to get creative. Max fetched a tiny bit of honey from the kitchen to coat the jar lid. Then, they asked the fireflies to call all the other bugs in the meadow. Soon, ladybugs, beetles, ants, and even a few grasshoppers gathered around. Together, they all worked as a team. The ants crawled up to the honey and started tugging at the lid, while the grasshoppers pushed from the side. The fireflies circled around, shining as bright as they could so everyone could see what they were doing. Finally, with a satisfying pop, the lid loosened. Twila squealed in delight as Lily gently unscrewed it the rest of the way. "Thank you, thank you!" Twila cried, her wings stretching in the night air. She flew out, spinning in joyful circles and scattering fairy dust everywhere. "I thought I'd be stuck in there forever." As a thank you, Twila gathered the fireflies, ladybugs, ants, and even the grasshoppers, and performed a magical fairy dance in the meadow. With each swirl, she left trails of sparkles in the air, making the night sky look like a shimmering fairy tale. She even sprinkled a bit of fairy dust on Lily and Max, giving them a warm, glowing feeling from head to toe. The fireflies glowed brighter than ever, their lights twinkling with happiness. Twila gave each of her bug friends a little kiss on the top of their heads. Before she left, Twila gave Lily and Max each a tiny glass vial filled with fairy dust. "Whenever you need help, just sprinkle a bit of this, and we'll come right away," she said, her voice as soft as the flutter of a butterfly. Lily and Max waved as Twila and the fireflies disappeared into the night, their glowing lights fading like stars winking out one by one. From that night on, whenever they spotted a firefly outside, Lily and Max would smile, knowing they had secret friends in the meadow. And every so often, when they were very, very lucky, they'd see a flash of blue wings and a golden sparkle, as Twila the fairy came by to check on her rescuers. And they all lived happily ever after, in the glow of friendship and fairy magic.